bolster the peace process in Cameroon. So we are waiting for it. And also the fact that a lot of I was in Bamenda 3 weeks ago, and I said that Bamenda is in grand chantier. There's no path, no road that is not touched in Bamenda. So the official news today only confirmed the fact that I was still thinking that it was rumor. Now I get it very well that Bamenda is in that chantier because of the Pope's visit, and which is a good thing. So there's a lot of infrastructural development that will go into the towns that will be touched, and which is going to remain when he goes away. So it's a good thing. I think that every Cameroonian should be happy about his visit.
Maybe more for George. Do you have something on that before we enter the program?
Well, there is no particular thing that I have to say except for the fact that the news is made more salivating because I cannot remember the last time that we had the visit of a foreign head of state, especially who is not within Africa. I think the last one that came visiting was Macron of France. And the undertones of that visit were not yet unanimously accepted, especially with the publication of what is said to have been a historical involvement of documents of the French participation prior to the independence of the what is called today La Republic to Cameroon. And when you look at from then and now, because as an aside, I just want us to look at this particular visit as a booster, especially because besides the quality of the personality, it's also a moral authority. And when you look at the way, especially in Africa, we are attached to Christianity, it will tell you that that is one of the sectors where it looks like even if the economy is down or the politicians are misbehaving, people still afford to go to church and pray for 24 hours non-stop. And some even prepare the best part of the food, especially the ladies, and rather than giving to their husbands, they give it to some
men of God,
other human beings, which they consider much more important than their own husband. So, but as far as I'm concerned, this visit is going to also expose and validate some of the controversies which especially rightly or wrongly, for the last after the last election phase, the media, especially the social media, accused certain high personalities of the Catholic Church of having abandoned their followers, and the clergy also, these personalities also take it lightly. They also fought back by actually making those people who were pushing them do things to say that they were not politicians. And they did. I remember somebody even said the apostolic nuncio, who is actually representative of the Vatican to the country, has also joined the team of those who are insensitive to the challenges that Cameroonians are going through. And again, you could remember what happened in Bamenda in the course of him making a statement, and then the Christians forgot that they were in church and they had to well, I don't want to use jail, but just the fact that and then he also consciously said, I am the nuncio. In communication science, you act. You don't declare who you are, because it is supposed to be in you. And so that one also, if you want to analyze that particular statement, that I am this, it means that there was some other thing that he was not said, which was intended by that interaction from the worshippers. So, but I would think, and the Pope is welcome, especially the fact that he's an American Pope. We want to think that he will not behave like the other politicians.
Of course, he is welcome, not only because he's an American Pope, because he's a friend, or the Papa is a friend to Cameroon, and we know there has been hardly any Pope who had not visited Cameroon. And so we are also expecting this one. We are preparing as Cameroonians. Cameroon is preparing to welcome him. Dear viewers, we shall be discussing on this topic maybe tomorrow or in the days ahead. We shall be discussing on this topic detailedly. That is the visit of the Papa to Cameroon. So at this time, we shall get back to our topic, where we shall be looking at the massive immigration of civil servants of Cameroon out of the country. What impact does it have on our economy? That is what we shall be looking at. But before we get into the topic to discuss, let us have a report on this. Then when we come back, we take the topic.
The Ministry of Secondary Education has issued a 14-day ultimatum to dozens of secondary school teachers who reportedly abandoned their post, commonly referred to as fallen bush, but continue to receive state salaries. The warning was delivered by the Minister of Secondary Education, Nalowa Lyonga, who stressed that any teacher who fails to report to the ministry within the given deadline will be removed from the government payroll. According to officials, the move is part of broader efforts to sanitize the public service and ensure that only active workers benefit from state funds. Authorities say the situation has deprived many schools, particularly in underdeserved areas, of qualified teachers, while the government continues to pay absent staff. The ministry has called on concerned teachers to regularize their status immediately, warning that failure to comply will lead to administrative sanctions. Education stakeholders say the decision is expected to improve accountability and strengthen discipline within the sector. For many parents and students, the crackdown signals renewed efforts to address teachers' shortages and restore confidence in the country's education system.
Welcome back, viewers of Cross Views on Royal TV. Thank you for staying put without touching the dial, because it is your favorite station, it is your favorite program. At this time, I want to begin with you, Mofo George, looking at the topic we have today. We know so many Cameroonians, so many Africans have been leaving their countries, and now we are focusing on Cameroon. This time it is the Minister of Secondary Education who has indicated that she has more than 6,000 teachers who are supposed to visit her office to tell her why they have not been present at their workplaces. Now, what is your take about this when you got information about 6,400 and for something teachers? What's your take about that, or civil servants?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, it is a massive emigration, and so the point there is, while the minister might have come out now to make the statement that she is making, but the point here should be noted that Cameroonians have actually been moving out of the country, if not for the past, especially during the periods when the multipartism became an issue, and some people decided to design documents and tag themselves as political enemies who were being tracked by the government agencies, and they were looking for safety havens in some of those foreign lands. But the situation has actually gone up within the last 10 years or so. And paradoxically, it is not just because also of the what is pompously called the Anglophone crisis, but it is a general trend, and the push factors include are not limited to economic hardship. So, and I just want to say, we deliberately use the term state employees because they also include the men and women in uniforms. So if you move beyond the Ministry of Secondary Education, you also realize that there is also a group, an NGO, an international NGO that recently published information on almost 100 Cameroonian dying in the war against between Russia and Ukraine. And curiously, when I looked at that list, and I saw that the age range of the persons who were actually being sent to the war front to fight on behalf of Russia, I discovered that they were all young persons between the ages of 22 and 35. In fact, many of them were below 35 years. And so you discover now that it is not going to be right for us to just think that it is generally just the civil servants of the Ministry of Secondary Education. It's a general trend. And while we are interested in what is happening in Cameroon, I just want to let their viewers know that in Africa, which means there is much more migration within the African continent amongst Africans than Africans actually moving out of the continent. But this time it is also shouting because there are certain countries that are actually instituted what they call pull factors, pull put in place institutions that have actually led to attracting Africans to come to their country. In fact, a country like Canada and Germany, it is within their body politic that they have actually instituted a mechanism to attract. For the Canadians, they are attracting more of French-speaking Africans to come there with some visa attracting modalities and even what they call free housing and job opportunities. While in a country like Germany, they are attracting the people who are skillful in the STEM, because you will discover that what is actually happening, these countries in the northern hemisphere, that is Europe and America, they have a population pyramid that is narrowing, with a lot of old persons weighing a lot on their economy, and they have the hands and the muscle to actually go into production. So the movement which we are talking about, a migration, is first and foremost greener pasture, because of the economic conditions. The other conditions now could also include environmental factors, it could also be political factors, but the prime reason is actually economic.
It's actually economic reasons that most of them are leaving. Let me come to you, Kikishi. Maybe let me get your mind about this situation, especially when since the minister was appointed, she has been fighting this situation, but it keeps on rising, and this year we have more than 6,000 of them, and you see that she has been doing a lot, What do you think is really happening?
I don't understand how the minister has been fighting the situation.
Because over the years, recently she has been doing that since she came into that ministry.
What caused the situation? Mr. Moko
Okay.
just mentioned to you
What
about
is
the
it?
push factors.
Yeah.
And if any of the push factors have been ameliorated by the minister, you will say that she's fighting the situation. You know, the push factors include something like career profiling. How you know it takes it takes a long time for somebody to advance in his career. So, the uncertainty they make somebody to look out.
Yeah.
You have working conditions. What are the working conditions that we have? How has the minister been fighting? The minister has been talking about immigration. We shall not be fighting immigration. It is a holistic approach to fight immigration that one minister, it should become a policy. Mr. Mufo just mentioned about the Canadian policy to attract the pull factors that they create within their country to attract
their workers back.
To attract foreigners. What is Cameroon doing to retain workers? Let me leave the teachers in the classroom, because a blackboard and a chalk, somebody will say, are sufficient for a teacher to give lessons. What about a doctor who has to conduct operation with obsolete equipment, who has to use obsolete microscope, who has to use, who even at the hospital would not, those things are even damaged, they are not functioning, but he has the skills and the expertise to work. What about his payroll? What is the payroll of a civil servant in Cameroon compared to the Central African region? Cameroon has the lowest
And with
payroll.
statistics, we have about 5,000 patients to one doctor.
Well, the 5,000 patients to one doctor now coming as a result of immigration, because of the poor conditions that are in place here. Since devaluation, other countries in the CEMAC region, or who are in the franc zone, adopted a strategy to cope up with the devaluation. They increase salary, they increase the payrolls of their workers as a step to reduce the burden or the hard devaluation to some level. And we find here that we have the catechist salaries, and then the cost of living continues to increase. The cost of living continues to increase. It is a holistic approach that the government has put in place to reduce the living trend, in order that the little salary, the catechist salary that workers, civil servants are receiving, could make up. Now, when you find a teacher who is even insecure in his job, because the overbearing political agenda that cuts across the public service do not permit you to use your expertise, your skills in your job very well. And then we don't have social security policies that guarantees the welfare of workers in Cameroon. So we live by the grace of,
When you talk of social security policy, because people out there will tell you the wonderful structure we have called CNPS has been doing a lot.
Oh, thank you. I was going to come there. If you had, before this topic, gone down to CNPS and find the number of old people that between their retirement period up till now, 4 years, 5 years, they have not had a dime, you will be shocked. And you know that many people die in Cameroon without having a dime of their retirement benefits. It is a whole lot of kind of rocket science for a retired civil servant in Cameroon to get hold of. But when they give you the text that governs the procedures to obtain retirement pension, it's so clean, just like every other paper law in Cameroon, that to create an enterprise is 72 hours maximum. Start
make
the
an
process
ID,
now. Just start the process, then you understand that it is just paper work and not practical. So that is the same thing with the call by ministers that you say the ministers have been doing in a lot to retain workers here, and I say no, they are not doing it. Well, they have just been warning, signaling, giving signals that how long does it take for a minister or for the system to notice that a teacher is absent from class? How long will it take?
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time because of corruption. If you want to know which teacher is in classroom and use the student approach, every class in Cameroon has a head boy or a head girl, or class prefect or a school prefect, who within a week, if they have their timetable, they know the teachers that are passing there. Is it supposed to take years for over the 6,000 people, 6,400 teachers? They move out just in one year? No, they're moving out. But the system do not track them because of correct practices. If we use students, if it's a center, if you want to track teachers' effective presence in classroom, and you use the students, they will tell you the teachers that are in their school that have been teaching in their classrooms. Now, other teachers are out because of, there is also another confusion. And some teachers are out on sick leave. The sick leave might be very long. Some teachers are out on further studies. So you not just not so even if you are going through students, you see there are still lapses because you need to know what has sent the teacher away. And most of the teachers pass through our airports. If you want to do a check and you go through the principal, you have very faulty results or evidence of effective presence by teachers. You need to go through a lot of across several channels, the airports, the this, the that. But the fun is that though those teachers are absent, their payrolls are. The worrying factor is that the salaries are passing. Because we are still crying out that we have an alarming rate of unemployment. And so if 6,000 have gone because they have better jobs out there, then the system should take in other 6,000 fast. So that you understand? So, but the issue is that now 6,000 gone, but their salaries are still being paid. So now it becomes a great loss. So that's one of the greatest loss to the country, because several billions are paid to people who are not present. And for your information, those teachers are not actually absent per se. They are being represented. They get some people to
work for them.
And then they divide their salary into three. Give the big boss 1/3, give another person, give the other person, and then 1/3 goes to them. So why do the system not absorb directly those people that are replacing the teachers, that have replaced the trained teachers, if they are already trained? It's a serious issue. We are talking about classroom. We are talking about hospitals that are empty. We are talking. It is a brain drain that needs to be harnessed. And if government is taking it lightly, you know what it means? That competent people with expertise. If you go to NASA, you find Cameroonians. Why can they not work in Cameroon?
Migration is not supposed to be an illegal thing, because this is a natural phenomenon that has been happening from time immemorial. And I want to even let you and your viewers understand that even Minister Nalowa is not against immigration. What she is against is the nature of how these people live.
And so that makes it illegal.
No, the nature in which they live, like Kikishi was saying, you cannot be going for your sick leave, or you want to leave, you don't formalize your living with an official letter. There are provisions for early retirement or resignation. Nobody will hold somebody to work by all means, by force, especially before now. We used to have what they call 10 years contract for graduates of professional school, for professional schools in Cameroon. Now it means that if somebody had already put in 10 years, the person is free to request for early retirement and all of that. And I just also want to say that, you see, the issue is a bit shouting at the level of the Ministry of Secondary Education, because if you look at all the ministries in these countries, the statistics from the public service will tell you that almost 50% of the civilian civil servants, they are graduates from ENS. And being graduate from ENS, they cut across. You go to ministries like social affairs, women's affairs, men's affairs, and boys' affairs, and all of that. You will discover that there are graduates from ENS who are working there either as what they call filling up the gaps, or they are there by appointment. And so the minister is actually saying, and I've heard her say this so many times, that nobody will hold anyone from leaving. They leave in a formal way, and they know that you are not there, rather than having one leg out and one leg in.
Before you continue, please, let's take example. We have the Ministry of Secondary Education. We have other ministries. But let's take, before a teacher leaves, there are maybe principals in that school. Maybe if it is basic, we have the head teachers and so on. And they should know within a week that a teacher is absent. Now, if you take the medical structures, before a doctor leaves, or any medical practitioner, they should be able to know that for a week, this doctor has not been in place, and other offices. But now, if you look at it, you will see that a teacher may leave the country, and in the next 2-3 years, nothing is being done, no noise. Then we start doubting how competent, or is it just a kind of corruption that is taking place?
Your question has answers within.
Okay.
Because when you listen to the announcement that usually made by what they call in banner language chef d'etat, the DOs and the SDOs, and even principals requesting that teachers who were assigned, who were posted, and they have not come. And you hear some of them who even talk about people who have not resumed since 2021.
Yes.
And then after, when they make that announcement, they are saying that they should come back, and they give them again an extra 2 weeks. Before, if they don't come, then they will be considered as having resigned and all of that. You know, so, well, you know, Cameroon is a paradox, because when you hear people being appointed, there's an article 2 that's always talking about advantages. They hardly talk about obligations in the formal appointments, letters and all of those which are read on radio. So the civil servant by itself, and this, we want to also use this medium to say that those are one of the group of the population who are spoiled in the real sense, because these are the group of persons who have hardly had what they call 1 or 2 months. The salary might be small, and they always tell you that it's irregular. And when you look at even the government budgetary display in terms of expenditure and all of that, the most prioritized elements after the presidency is the salary of state employees.
Okay.
So, in that particular scenario, I should rather be happy for those people who are even emigrating, because the first thing is that the money is there, but it's small. So it even becomes an embarrassment, because you are quarreling every day with people who are also replacing them. Chikisi was talking about the meager salary again is divided into 3. The man who has left, or the woman who has left, and the woman or man who is replacing him or her illegally or legally, and then the person who is also supposed to be taking note and sending reports to the ministry. So it's a whole combined chain of conspiracy and complacency amongst the persons. But I don't want us, and this is the message I want us to take this evening, that they should look at the teachers as unpatriotic. It is a systemic issue that goes beyond, and what we are seeing is just an effect of somebody not doing, or some institution not doing their homework.
If
because
you talk
we're talking about even this thing, there is a ministry called Ministry of Public Service.
Yes.
there's a Ministry of Finance, there's a Ministry of what you call, just at the level of the Education Ministry in Cameroon, there are about 4 ministries undertaking activities related to education.
Okay.
Just that element of people playing chameleon, that you can move from public service that is supposed to give you your matricule number to the ministry that is the user ministry to the other ministry that is paying your salary and all of that. You ask yourself, recently they are talking about an animal or a bird that has been installed now to control, they call it eagle. Now this eagle is supposed to have come out to clean what they call the payroll, but you will discover that the guys who are still manning that thing, that because it's a computer software, so the input is still done by some human beings. And when you hear that there's somebody who was given 102 years in prison, Director of Salary in the Ministry of Finance.
If they have to be patriotic, does it mean they should go hungry? Because if what I'm coming into now is looking at the situation, you gave some of the reasons for them leaving, which shows that their salaries and maybe working conditions are not the best. Even if they want to be patriotic, does that really hold with their situation?
Even beyond what we call law for country, because the essential definition of patriotism. You discover that one of the greatest frustration in this country has come from our politicians.
Okay.
Because they are supposed to be defending or speaking on behalf of the what you call the rank and file. And the first thing that they do is, when they are defending those bills, especially the parliamentarians at the level of the National Assembly, the first thing that they are thinking of is not to even look at the structure of the budget in terms of where the money is going to go through. They are rather looking at how much the new cars that are going to be given to them and all of those things. And then when it comes now, even at the level of what they are supposed to do back in the field in terms of aligning and empathizing with the population that they are saying they are representing. Ask you this question: when was the last time your parliamentarian informed you about how bills are made to become laws in Parliament? But this is, they have extended their mandate, this is CTA and all of that. Have you ever heard him even try to? Now the people at the level of the regional assembly, since this is the second mandate that they are going through, but by the strength of that law on decentralization, regional assemblies are supposed to be controlling secondary education. But why do you think that they have not raised a hand to advocate that they should give them that powers? We even have somebody who is called Commissioner of Education and all of that. But
what powers?
Have you ever heard him make any position statement to even align with? In fact, while we might be coming to talk about the details, let me even tell you that it is why it is necessary for these people to immigrate. It's also advantageous for the economy of the country.
Yes, we shall be coming to the benefits.
It's also advantageous to the economy of the country.
Yes, we shall be coming to the benefits. Let me come now to Kikishi. Before this program, it's unfortunate that a few people are invited here, maybe the teachers and some administrators. In the last minute, they had to fail. But with my investigation from some of them who were supposed to be here, I don't want to say their reasons why they are afraid to come here. They made me to understand, before you leave the country as a civil servant, especially that is really on the teachers, the governor of that region has to approve before you leave the country. But now we find a situation where there are some people who feel like they are going out is very authentic. What do you think is happening on that chain? Or maybe from the office right to the GO or the various chain of offices before somebody leaves, and for years before we start hearing all these announcements as if it wasn't known?
Well, what happens to the chain? You're talking about the procedure for a teacher
Yes, to leave.
move out of the
Yes.
country, there has to pass through
The governor's office
governor's
has to
office
approve.
for
Yes.
notification and then for approval.
Yeah.
If at all, it depends on has anything to do with approval. Of course, the majority out of the 6,400 who are out, as per the minister's declaration within these past years, more than half of them are receiving their pay.
Okay.
And if you had to go through the governor's office, it means that the governor's office will obviously notify the Ministry of Finance that you are not around, so that they should suspend your salary, which is not what those people want. So they take the clandestine route simply because they want to keep some little change.
Because fortunately, when I was doing the investigation, I saw a few who had just left the office of the delegate of secondary education, because the delegate too had to like do some approval before it goes to the governor's office.
Okay. Now those are for the exceptionally good ones.
Okay.
The issue that we want to point out here is not about the routine that is deviated,
Okay.
but the reasons for deviation. The reason for that, despite the fact that you say that the government is doing a lot to stop it still continues. Now, when you talk about insecurity in the job,
Yes.
I'm not talking about war, the crisis that we're facing, job
The
insecurity.
comfort.
Do you know the number of teachers that are on seat who absented from school 1 week and they are not taking salary for 5 years, but they are teaching in the classroom? Do you know the number? They are in their hundreds and in their thousands.
During the
That
crisis,
because of
we
1 week
saw a teacher
they
in the
were
north.
transferred to Libya when it was difficult to even find a car that would take you there. When every other person who was appointed there was going in armored cars, and you, the teacher, you could not afford an armored car, your salary has been suspended for 3, 4, 5 years. But you are in the class for teaching.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the paradox that we are talking
The one I
about.
wanted to
The
say,
paradox about
he
the
has been
country.
for 15
that
years
as the government
without salary.
is talking about raising an alarm every day about teachers that have abandoned their jobs for greener pastures out, they are forgetting that they are innocent, wrongfully convicted teachers in the classroom who have been teaching for the past 5 years without a dime of salary.
Okay.
And they have gone to Yaoundé, they borrow money and go to Yaoundé time and again to see the situation to rectify, and it's not rectified with it. I know many I can cite, but I don't need to cite names.
Yes.
I am saying, so you see, that is the insecurity that the other people see. It's the insecurity that they find on their job, and they prefer to go for greener pastures. Mr. Mufti was saying that that is even a technical advantage for a country. If you have been paying salaries, 200,000, somebody finds 3 million to take, and after expenditure, you can keep in the bank every month 1 million. And considering the fact that money will come back here, you know the remittance of Cameroonians who are working out?
So is that something we will say that because of job security?
No. You know, we have issues of governance in Cameroon.
Okay.
And you don't need to graduate to start working before you know that you are in the country, that a country with very defined rules and laws, but which is ruled as if it is a lawless country.
Okay.
So that already even students in school, professional schools, they go there only to waste time for their documents to get right for them to travel out. That is no secret that Cameroonians have lost trust, and Cameroonians see, like we were talking on this platform about the push factors and the
Yes.
pull factors, that the jobs out there are more lucrative and they earn us more money than here. You know, each year, Mr. Mofo was talking about parliamentarians and senators who go there, defend laws, and they cannot sit to account for why these are put into law. You cannot imagine that a minimum salary, a minimum wage in Cameroon is 30-something thousand. How much do you take transport to go to your job site every day or 5 times a week, and then you end that kind of money?
What you just said is very
So
authentic.
we are actually saying that for this country to regain economic stability,
Yes.
1 million Cameroonians should find themselves out and be sending back that money to develop their country. And that is, they are more patriotic, because the people, the civil servants, the top civil servants that are here,
Yes.
where do they bank their monies? Out of the country. So which is better? that a good number of youths go out there and send their remittance to Cameroon.
Yeah, we come to that. I don't want
the
to
ones that are
handle
pretending that they are here,
something here
because of political overbearing into the civil public service. They are instead sending their money and keeping them in foreign banks, which is preferable. Who is more patriotic?
Okay, this corrupt chain is something that I really want us to handle, because what a teacher told me is so fortunate she refused to be here.
Yeah, she is fortunate that
she refused to be here. That what is there is that this, maybe in her school, the principals are aware, and what is there is the number of teachers they have. About close to half of the teachers are made up of PTA teachers, because so many of them have left, and those administrators in the school, they are aware of that. Do you see an aspect there that I'm coming to the level of who should have this blame?
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy was talking a while ago that the decentralization process that is already in paper since some years back.
Yeah.
Others from Yaoundé, if teachers in Boya, in Furawa, or wherever they have connection in Yaoundé, that it overpowers the authority of the principal. And so if they change, the principal may notify the system, but it will take time, because those teachers have godfathers too, political godfathers who protect them. In Cameroon, it is about qui est ton protégé. Who is your godfather? Who is your parent? So even within the regions, the principals, you may want to levy the blame only on principals, but without taking into consideration the fact that most of the principals are, they report to Yaoundé, to the central system, and in the central system, if a teacher was already having a godfather within that system, there's nothing the principal can do. But for some, we know there are cases that the principal, they take their gumbo too, and let go. But the overburden, the blame should not be on the principals. The central system that has refused to decentralize the authority of education to regions or to the council or to the regional assemblies should be blamed for staying too far and trying to send, whether it's a giraffe kind of neck that will see across. Now, we are talking about Operation Eagle.
Sparrowhawk. Okay.
What it started with Operation Antelope. They sang it, and they were very sure that Operation Antelope was going to reduce the number of ghost workers within the payroll of the government. But after Operation Antelope, the number instead doubled, and they brought Operation Sparrowhawk. So this is really it is a country with a lot of paradox. Stories, they have all the data about teachers are not in Cameroon, but the same guys are appointed by the people who pretend that they are waging a fight against corruption, and they maintain them. The accountability in Cameroon you imagine, you are talking about the minister coming to talk about 6,000 workers who might have more within the past 5 years, 10 to 5 years, right? Yeah. Now, when a director general of a company resigns, and then you hear a story that he will be taken to Kone because he embezzled 20 billion, 50 billion. Was it embezzled in one day? No. Was it embezzled within a period of 1 year? No. So it means that our system has refused to be accountable, even though we have tools that can be used now, modern technology tools that can be used to do control systems and then be accountable within space of time. How can you have a vote holder after every budgetary year he is not audited, or whether they do the auditing and then they keep the results somewhere? Then it is after several years that he says that he wants to fall bush, he's tired,
then they start justifying the fact.
Start pointing fingers that that's when they want to do the checks and balances. Or you see somebody who crosses the carpet during elections period that is joining another party, they start pointing a finger at him that no, he did. So what is we are saying that the overbearing political hand on our public service is the reason for why people are moving out of the country for greener pastures. The reason why there's a high corruption within the system is the reason why we still have thousands of ghost workers within the payroll of the public service.
Okay, let me come now to Mofojos. Let's look at some of these consequences, maybe economically, socially, politically. You may start from any angle that you... What are some of these consequences? Because we like it or yes, or although it is happening, but there must be some effect, whether positive or negative.
Well, you look, for those who know me, I always see things, especially from the perspective of positivism, that the glass is half full. And let us begin with the most popular one,
Yeah.
which is commonly called the international financial institution remittances.
Okay.
When you look at the quantity of flow, regular or irregular amount of money sent by these Cameroonian immigrants back home in Cameroon, and you compare to what is also called foreign direct investment, what the loans, the aid and all of that, you discover that that amount of money sent by Cameroonians out there is more than what we get through what they call foreign direct investment. Secondly, you also discover that the social effect of this high rate of what we call massive immigration also act as an insurance and a stability to some families who might not be able to have built a good house.
Yeah.
Good house here, I mean by a house where you can get up and rain is falling and not having worry to go and put a bucket so that the dripping zinc does not flood you. I'm talking about women who have been able to associate with a man through marriage, and she has changed her life, even if at the end of the day they divorce back there because of incompatibility with the lifestyle of familyhood and all of that. But the women, most times, they change the structure of their family life. And then beyond that, look at most of the buildings that we have here.
Yeah.
Look at the infrastructure that we have here.
Somebody who spent 3 years abroad and come and build story buildings here. When
So you discover that, and again we are looking at this movement and all of that. There are other people who are moving also because they have skeleton in their cobwebs.
Okay.
They are moving to London, stealing booty, and they go that way and they send it back as if it is money that they have worked outside to handle certain basic things. So at the end of the day, you agree with me. There are countries moving out of Cameroon. If you look at countries like Egypt,
yes,
Kenya, Seychelles, or Lesotho, and the rest, their GDP is considered by about a quarter of money based on what their foreign or their nationals are sending back to beef up the national economy in terms of increase in resources for other investment by the state from where they have actually migrated from. And then the best of all is in terms of human capital development.
Yeah.
Because most times we always conclude that brain drain is not commensurate with brain gain. But in reality, for somebody who went out, whether legally or illegally, he is exposed to acquire quality education, especially in the domain of STEM, that is
we instead have some who graduate here and go and teach somewhere like China,
whatever. You have a variety of reasons what are there, but I'm talking about the ones who are going there to enhance their capacity in terms of exposure to technology, to science, to engineering and the rest. There are, in fact, I have a friend in one of the universities. Today he's talking about quantum computing.
Yeah.
quantum computing goes beyond the normal computer science, because that is the highest level of computer science. They can only do that with the type of machines which are produced by his former students who are now based in France and those countries. So you see, by and large, the good news is that people will always move, because it's historically evidence that people have always been moving. The question now is, why should we be alarmist when it is happening, and then we can also retain these people? Because there are also contrary measures that you can also maximize this immigration. What is stopping us from having the double nationality law instituted?
Salaries.
Where those very Cameroonians, because don't forget, when you take a second nationality, you cannot even lead an investment, which means you cannot, your name cannot be registered, because of having taken a different nationality. You lose the Cameroonian identity, so you are considered as a foreigner when you register a company. And by that same token, you cannot have majority shares if you are floating a company that is supposed to float with large shareholders and the rest. You always be the minority shareholder. You also inhibit us benefiting from some of these people who are immigrating. What I look around, first of all, if you look at the country with the type of governance system that we have, where we talk about working conditions and all of that, these guys, it's not because they're also doing the jobs that they do there.
Yes.
But in terms of currency exchange and all of that, it beats, because the same person who cannot do babysitting or cannot do caregiving in Cameroon and the rest
We'll do it there.
will do it there, and do it there with the hope that what he is earning, he will have some change to send back and still live well, and he still have opportunity that he can work and go to school.
Yes.
So the same mentality where you have somebody who is sleeping for less than 5 hours outside there, because he has a motivation to work, because he knows what he has left behind. But the contrary is not true. If you care, you work here for the same 16 hours, you still take the same bigger salary that might not even take you back home. The highest that you would end with you in a bar, and then you think that you are drinking to drink your sorrow. And you see what we are talking about today, about femicide and all of those things. It's out of frustration.
Stress.
It's out of frustration. So the end point in all of this is, let the governance system straighten up itself. Double nationality should be instituted, so that we benefit from citizens, whether they are taking second nationality or they are staying behind. Because come to think about it, look at even what you might consider even how government also popularize or communicate information on our tax system and the rest. It is shrouded in some mystery. So the minority persons who have advantage to have access to that information, they use it now as a weapon now to also frustrate honest Cameroonians who want to do business, but they do it in such a way where, and I want to still encourage that, let us not make anybody to be guilty for immigrating. But the only encouragement I'm saying here for those who want to immigrate, don't go out like a thief. It is your right. And when you are doing it, it rather creates opportunities, because as you are moving with these graduates who are also coming out from our professional school, they also have opportunity to asset or to also be given a taste of the national cake by the token salary that they'll be earning as a result of replacing you.
Okay, thank you so very much for just let me come to you, Kikichi. Maybe you have some other points to put forward as effects, whether positive or negative, whether social, cultural, political, and otherwise. So what are some of these effects on the country, whether economically and so on?
You see, we cannot say that we have said it.
Okay.
That we have more positive effects financially, economically. If you look at the remittance, it is above $1 trillion. For the whole Africa, is above trillions we're talking about. And there are some countries, like you find they showcase the strength of the diaspora's participation in national development. Unfortunately, these positive benefits or effects are narrowed down in Cameroon Because from the time a young boy or a Cameroonian comes back home and makes a gesture to his community, the politicians start seeing him as an eminent challenger.
Yes.
And so that is why our politicians have overtaxed the diaspora as negative, that they are a negative effect to the growth of Cameroon. Each time that we have crisis, they are seen by the hand of the diaspora. They are not seeing the governance system that is, shaky as a reason for any crisis. But they are seen by foreigners, their own children, who have become a stone in the flesh of the government.
Yeah.
Well, we say no. That is just propaganda, and it has painted them black. If you look within the past, since this crisis started, before the crisis, it was said that the Northwest region alone, around November, December, will receive about close to 20 billion CFA from bushfallers who come back. Now that they have tagged the majority of them as being blacklegs to the system, they rather choose to stay there for fear of being wanted here home. But that is a negative policy. And that's where I said that most often I will always say that our politicians are very unpatriotic. Our politicians are very unpatriotic because they do everything to paint anybody who has a contributing, who adds value to the system. They do everything to start to look, where is his money coming from? Is he a scammer? Is he this a fair man? Or this is his money, clean money? Whereas, like I say, the clean money that they harvest from the system is in Swiss banks, in foreign banks. Now they use the young ones who want to bring development to their system, they tag them negative. The effects, the positive effects are so many. Mr. Mofo was saying that we should not look at it from brain drain.
Okay.
Because when you go out, you empower yourself. Manpower development goes with just moving out of the country or moving out of regions to other regions is education. Because you learn, you learn by interacting with other people. And so once you move out, you are a good product that can, you fine-tune your expertise. But the issue now is, why are they not coming back? He talked of dual nationality. Which kind of country would refuse his or her own children from coming back to live, to contribute to nation building with the knowledge, the skills acquired? And so that's why they continue to cry, simply talking of brain drain. But they are not seeing that those guys went out and empowered themselves. I have a brother who is in Boeing. He left here from technical school, went there and was highly valued there. Today he's a doctor, big engineer doctor, and he contributes enormously in Boeing company. Why will he not come back and start here? Because immediately you come back, the unfair command. There's a popular phrase that after you come back with your business plan, you will sit in the region, but since you only take the decision of investment policies, and you always have to go to Yaoundé to look for a godfather who has to godfather you through, and then you add unfair command. He wants to get a share of the company investment, that he's not wanting, asking the question to add shares, they wanting to get part of what you brought in to invest. So those are the typical things that are discouraging Cameroon. Every other country, you find so many Nigerians in Cameroon, right? Go back and see what they do in their countries. You see them here as if they are naked people. You can even insult them, but you go back to their countries and see what they are doing back home. Whatever they invest, what they get here, 3/4 goes back to their home for development. And that's the beauty of immigration. But now, because of the political overbearing in our system, we tend to see everybody, we want to have everybody inside. They are not taking care of them. There's nothing to improve their standard of living. Poverty continues to dominate people. And so when people move out, they look them at, okay, let me ask a question. How many times do the head of state visit foreign countries in a year? If you calculate the number of private visits per year of the head of state of Cameroon, you realize that in 1 year, if His Excellency lives in Cameroon, it is just 6 months, or if it is too much, it is 8 months that he lives here. 4 months he lives out. It means the outside is comfortable. If ministers are not given suspension, so AMSAT is more comfortable. Look at the trash that we have around here. Is it that we cannot manage our waste system, or why have we become a dirty country? Physical dirt is everywhere, and which affects our health. So people move out because they are affected by health. How many ministers go to hospitals in Cameroon? Because those are the pointers that there's something wrong within the system. Those are great pointers that no minister, you hear them, all of them will go and die outside. They go and die outside. Why? It is an indicator that the system has lapses, which needs to be changed, whether the health sector or whatever. That there are some places that have better opportunities, either opportunities for health, to cure yourself. Why do they keep their monies mostly outside? Because the banking system there is cleaner than here. So why don't they clean it? Let the ministers know. Most of the ministers to have dual nationality, let me tell you, it's just that they are political wit. You see Cameroonian players who are supposed to be playing the national team. Mbappe is one. He's playing for France. There are so many of them that came, knocked the doors with the skills that they acquired out, and they were shown out. So those are the challenges that we have, which are coming because of the negative effects of immigration are caused by the system's governance policies. Canada, Mr. Mufa was saying, they have an attractive, they have pull factors. They develop things to attract immigrants in their countries, giving them good housing conditions and whatever. Look at where is our housing policy? Where has it gone to? Those teachers with low salaries or people who are supposed to be low salary are supposed to live in low-cost houses. Do you know that low-cost houses, when it is built like this, a big boss in one of the ministry takes all and pay for years, and then start to give it, and then the people now that are supposed to benefit from those social amenities will not benefit. But it becomes now for the class, for the high class people in the society. We have to look into all those things. If we think that we should retain youths in Cameroon and we retain them, that those are going out and patriotic, okay, create an enabling environment for you to strive here. Look at this. Okay, within the crisis, we're talking about insecurity. Look at our legal system. Okay. Look at our legal system. They will take you to court. They'll postpone a case for 5 years. That I am the son of the soil. Then they will go to corrupt the system and they will turn you round and round and round. Those are insecurities that lead to people moving because you don't know what the future holds. This mandate has been baptized as the mandate of greatness and hope. Right? And hope, what are we expecting? They are saying that they are going to trigger 50 billion for youth empowerment and entrepreneurship. Before you know it, the same money will be in the hands of sons and daughters of the bourgeois class. And then when the common son from one village is traveling out of the country, they say he's unpatriotic because he's leaving he's following bush. They seem not to qualify them as root of negative influence. No.
Okay, I have a few points here that we'll handle. We'll just look at, the rich Africa that we have, but poor people, because we understand Africa has everything, but have poor people. Then we'll look at the PhD in Cameroon, where we know the universities just have about 60 places for the PhD. Is that another way to make them go, and what effect? Then we'll look at the bar exams, although we know things are like coming a bit normal, but with statistics we realize so many have gone to Nigeria and other places, Gambia and so on, to become full-time lawyers. Now, okay, let's first of all take the aspect of PhD.
Again, that is one of the paradox of this country, whereby you find a scenario where people are qualified to undertake certain educational investments. They are prohibited because of poor planning at the level of the state. You know, in reality, whoever put in the minds of PhD holders that they were trained with teaching in university, or they got alone knows. And that's why you are going to discover that of recent, the Chinese have come out with a different approach of PhD thesis. Their PhD thesis is not about voluminous theories that you have been able to compile and
you sit and start defending
You come with evidence of
what you've done,
of a meaningful, viable product.
Yeah, physical.
You come with a prototype.
Yes.
That's what they use to assess that you are worthy. That's, you bring a solution, which is solving a problem in your community, in your country, in your town, in your region, and they award you. You know, when you even look around, you start asking yourself, the people who are making this particular type of stopgap of avoiding a massive entry to be trained as PhD holders, they are the same PhD people who want to stay there and ensure that they don't have competition or competitors. It's the same like this immigration and double nationality thing. Because the average politician knows that politics is always an expensive venture. And knowing that where the money can come from without actually pilfering government coffers is from business. And the only way you can really do business and really do it in a global scale is by having traveled and seen how it is done in a professional way, where you are not doing survival entrepreneurship, but you are doing opportunity entrepreneurship. You are working about scaling, transnational, transgenerational, and financial. So the PhD, and you will see, I'm not a prophet of doom. You're going to see how this particular approach will be defeated at the shortest possible time.
Somebody made a statement that to do PhD now in Cameroon, it will surely be an aspect of bribery and corruption, because fewer places, then you start seeing so many people want to go in for PhD to start bribing. Not even just that internal limitation is going to also act as a push factor. Yeah, for so many to go abroad. Do you know? Yes. Do you know that there are some there's a university institute in Boya that has already signed an agreement to be delivering studies in PhD in from Nigeria.
Yes, within Cameroon, and the people go and defend in Nigeria, and or the Nigerian professors come and defend. What is happening now? Export of our hard-earned currencies. Meanwhile, this money is mounting to design a smart city where you have simple, what they call, traffic lights. And every day we see the administrators praising the Silicon Mountain, talking about it. Lip service of ask them that what is that Silicon Mountain. They'll tell you what it is all about. But we saw one of the ministries signing an agreement with the Silicon Mountain. That's the error that people are making. It's Silicon Mountain. So one day you say you saw President Trump signing an agreement with Silicon Valley. It's a geographical space of different tech entrepreneurs, with each having their own different enterprises and network and all of those things. It's not so much in a company. A physical. It's a conglomerate of tech-related businesses that have been able to be networking and doing things with using technology as their principal resource based on infrastructure to be able to produce. But even then, how many of our institutions, look at the most dramatic thing, our current national identity card or even our passport, where we go and hire a foreign company, and you'll be surprised that there is a Cameroonian who has actually come and demonstrated that he is doing this same technology of producing a biometric for other countries, even in Europe. Even ID cards. In Europe. Then we neglect those persons there to enhance capital transfer and job creation, and in all of that, we are having just 90%, 10% of the fallout of all the money that we pay for foreign companies to come out. I would have been saying that it would have been good if we didn't have competence in that domain to bring in so that we do technology transfer.
That's what I wanted
that we
to
have
ask.
those technology transfer.
That's what I wanted to ask, that if this PhD is limited to maybe 60 persons in each university, does it show like we don't have the competence?
It's not an issue of competence. It's an issue of embarrassment that when these people come out with PhD, the government is confused, don't know what to do to them, because they are put in their mind that a PhD holder
is to teach
in the university.
That is serious.
Of course, that's the bottom line. So I mean, it's not ridiculous for you to, as a Cameroonian, to see a group of aggrieved PhD holder marching on the street that they should give them jobs.
And so, just as somebody said, that in few years to come, most of our PhD holders, lecturers in the university and others will be having the foreigners. People bring in foreign kind of ideas in our universities and schools around, because maybe we'll start having people who go abroad to do their master and maybe PhD. Then we'll start having the foreigners who come and be lecturing us. Do you see that affecting our educational system to an extent?
Well, the first thing about our educational system is that it is a foreign educational system. It doesn't resolve the context.
So we are trying to add more foreign way of doing things.
I will not be surprised if foreign PhD holders come to lecture in our universities because ours have migrated out. Because the system of education we have is a foreign system of education. So we are saying here that the PhD holders are supposed to be solution providers. And being solution providers, they should not look at themselves from a very macro angle, from a micro community angle. What are the problems that are plaguing the denizens in Boya? And I am doing my research as a PhD student in Boya, in Boya or in Kumba or in the southwest or in the northwest or in Yaoundé, and you look at common. It is not about handling very complex issues, but trying to bring in solutions that can make life better. And by bringing solutions that make life better, you will not be looking for employment because you'll be graduating with a PhD. With a business plan of what your research has brought you to, which is a solution that will fit into the community where you are living. Right, the bar exam, and if
I know a Reverend Father who just came back.
I will tell you the amount of millions
they spend.
That they spend.
Yes.
And what are we talking about here? That we are talking about teachers not teaching in the classroom and all of that. When you have, that's the worst policies trend that we are. They have been singing a song in our ears since the day when Barrister Etabi song was the batoonier and all of that, championing that, and they were compiling documents and saying that they will grant a law school.
Thank you. That's where I was going to get there.
That's become like one of the wonders of humanity. So there are some basic things that our politicians or other policy makers, you start asking them whether do they actually think that when they die, their offspring will be happy with the legacy that they are leaving behind. Because there are basic things that will not affect them. It will instead make the country more attractive to a lot of persons to stay behind and contribute to the national development and other things in their local community. But we banalize them and make them look like, let us stay the way we are and start comparing ourselves that we are better than Chad, we are better than Central African Republic.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, Mr. Moko just took what I wanted to say, that
immigration or migration in general will always be, because it has been part of humanity. The question now is, to what effect, what is the reason for movement? Are you moving through your own world? Because don't forget, there are people who are migrating for tourism. They have their monies, they want to go and enjoy themselves in some exquisite island and all of that. So some people prefer that they want to go and treat themselves out of the country. It is their right.
But if they, but now we are talking of those things that have made the country to. If they improve maybe working condition, is that going to?
No, you are talking now. You are talking about the theme of state employees.
Yes.
But I'm saying that even a state employee who has been able to assemble certain resources, decides that he wants to take his leave and go and spend his leave out, you will not stop him.
Yes, but I'm talking now of because mostly these people who leave is because of the poor working condition.
Of course,
yes.
Of course. That is one of the reasons why people move. People move voluntarily. People move because of force conditions.
Because somebody, if you receive £1 million as salary or two, I'm not sure you leave to prefer to go and work maybe in China and so on.
No, well, like I said, people always move for different reasons. But again, when it comes now to proper solution, that the movement will be a win-win. Because people will move. For that one, I can assure you, people always move. But it should be for a win-win. The first thing is policy change by taking this obnoxious law, that of where if you take a second nationality, you lose your Cameroonian nationality. That is not something that we need to even to be still. There are people, there are countries that are serving 10 nationality, not just double, but 10 nationalities, and you are still considered anytime you come back. So home is home. And don't forget, we are thinking that the migration is just towards Europe and the rest. There are countries in Africa where you find that a large, almost 50% of the population is in the foreign country. Take the case of Burkina Faso.
Okay.
You find a large chunk of their citizens are in Cote d'Ivoire. The same like Mali. Go to Southern Africa. A large chunk of the immigrants there are from Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and all of that. Because they are doing it within Africa. And again, look at the fallout in terms of impact on their GDP.
Okay.
It's really a country like Egypt. Why would people run away from Egypt if you consider it negative? But because there the country even encouraging it, because it bring in foreign currencies that also boost the economy and all of that. So the advantage of that migration is for the purpose of alternative financing, where you will reduce the level of the government indebtedness. Just imagine that when they tell you that the government is raising money through bonds and all of those things. Who are those buying those bonds? You think that they're only Europeans and Americans? There are still people who have refused to consider them our nationals, who are passing through those other persons, and you give them different nationality, but they're buying those bonds to finance the same project that we would have used those same persons and do what they call in economics build, operate, transfer as a strategy, where you now take a route and say, okay, the road that we have been struggling with from Kumba, or from take even Kumba Titi road. And you say all the denizens, you know, in America there's a whole neighborhood there they call Kumba associations. They have established a whole.
Most of them are falling.
Yes, in the US, one in Maryland, the Association of Kumba Boys and Girls, and they used to. So if they decide, okay, prioritize this road to citizens of Kumba wherever they find themselves, that they build and they install a toll gate, and then the government say, okay, what you build, you install a toll gate and collect the toll for 10 years and then hand over the road. You see the level of development. The same thing. You will not see the type of basket type where one minister will come and tell you that the road will cost 1,000 billion, the most expensive road, that the comparative to other countries with the same economic level is not even up to 50% amount. Because that's where when you talk about patriotic or whatever thing, the people who are here, who are actually stopping those people from ventilating and getting the worth of their sweat.
Yeah.
How do you explain that this country will spend monies and send people on scholarship? They abandon them.
And they are not there to come and give the knowledge that they
you start getting frightened that when they come, they will make you invisible. Because you want to be the only cock in the band. So it is an issue of, first of all, policy and politics, and then don't forget, we are working now in a generation of technology.
Yes.
And technology, most of our politicians now, technology came and met them. They know what they can rewind and be able to catch up with the type of manipulation that this generation G or generation Z or Z they are doing now. It is their time. And the only way they can catch up with them to benefit from this fallout is liberate. They are not coming to their power. Because till tomorrow, if politicians will still determine who becomes the minister, who becomes the parliamentarian, but these guys, they want to become the economic power. The economic power. You know, I was looking at some Google message that came from one of the AI, and we were talking about the most intellectually endowed community in Anglophone Cameroon. You know that community that they brought out from Manu Division. We want to see the level of development in Manu Division. Look at the level of development in Manu Division. Now go to a country like then they talk about the most hardworking and industrial. Talk about the people of the West region. Go and see their own structure also. So what's the relationship between content in education and economic progress in terms of industriousness and the rest? We should be able to marry these things and know that today we are talking about what they call university policy, entrepreneurial universities.
Yes.
But
Hey, Royal TV viewers, your voice matters, and now we want to hear it louder than ever. We've created a special WhatsApp feedback group just for you. Got opinions about our shows? Suggestions to make Royal TV better? Compliments, complaints, or hot takes? This is your direct line to us. Joining is easy. Simply scan the QR code on your screen right now, and you're instantly connected to the Royal TV community. Be part of the conversation. Influence our programs. Help shape the future of your favorite TV station. Don't just watch. Interact, engage, be heard. Scan the code and join the Royal TV WhatsApp group now. When we dream alone, it is only a dream. But when many dream together, it is the beginning of a new reality.
Welcome back, dear viewers. After that break, at this time we will have to start concluding the program. I will start with you, Kikishi. What you have to say as your last words so that we start getting to the end of the program.
Well, my last words are that in their last days office, our politicians should think about the legacy they are going to leave for this country.
Okay.
We have made several recommendations on this platform.
When you say last days in office, are you saying that they will be putted out?
My prayers is that they should be ready to quit the scene and allow a youthful generation with energy to energize back the country, a generation full of energy and endowed with expertise. Forget about this story of experience, because if it was about experience, Cameroon will be one of the most developed countries in the world. If somebody has been head of state for more than 4 decades, they will be the most experienced head of state to bring development, and the most experienced head of the state to even bring the crisis to a halt, and the most experienced head of state to return youths back home, if at all they have to return them.
The economy.
But like we are saying, migration, moving out of the country, it could be for tourism reason, it could be for leisure, it could be somebody has sat in one place for too long, maybe you are already above 50 or you have spent your 50 years in Cameroon, and you decide to go to a new environment to spend the rest of your life in a new environment. It should not be a problem to anybody. The problem is for those that went on scholarship and trained. If we took a doctor and we sent him to John Hopkins University as a medical doctor to be trained there, and he went and he was using very modern equipment. He comes back now and finds that he's going to use obsolete equipment. We do not match with his training. What do you explain? How can you keep him back here? You understand? The technology demands requires that he moves closer to the source of the best equipment so that he can showcase his expertise. So we are saying that the lapses that push some people go because of poverty reasons, and if we make amends in our system, some people will stay. If we think that we cannot stop people from moving, because some people are even working money but to go out and enjoy life out. People should feel free to move. One of their freedoms is freedom of movement.
But don't you think that if we develop the country, if somebody is tired of living maybe in Boya, you feel like, okay, let me go to somewhere like Iti now, let me go still in the same country because it's developed.
That is what we are saying.
Yes.
That let the government or the stakeholders try to make sure that all parts of Cameroon are comfortable for Cameroonians to live. Let the development reach all the nooks and crannies so that somebody decides. I remember there was a situation where a foreign priest came to Cameroon, and he was in Kumbu. Then the cardinal of blessed memory was coming from an interior Paris, somewhere far off, where vehicles are not even going there. You go and live somewhere, you check like 4 hours before you reach that community. We went and spent some days there. When he was coming, he met this visiting priest in Kumbu. I said, no, you leave Italy and you come and stay in Kumbu? No. He asked them that should take him back to where he was coming from. That is how he was going to get the feeding of it. Yes. Cameroon. And so when that priest went there and went back to Italy, before long he started sending containers of clothes and things because he found a needy community. He found people that were really in need. Yeah. He found a community that was still very primitive. Let me use the word primitive, even though the definition of primitivity has changed with time. But at that time they used to call it primitive communities. So what we are saying is that somebody who is tired, who has retired from Boya, whose village is in Banso, should be able to go to Banso and enjoy the rest of his life. It means that within Banso, the social communities that are there should at least be able to accommodate him and make him feel no wanting. That he cannot have this, he cannot have... What about telephone communication? Why should they come? You know, the whole of today, how many times have lights cut? You have light
many
cuts.
times.
And how many times have you had... can you have short internet for 1 hour without dark moments? So those are some of the things that are making Cameroonians to even move out there. Very simple reasons. It is when you have your children who have already grown in Europe and you are on retirement, why should you be here alone? You are going back to join your family that is already there. Who will not come back in the dark to make the period of dark ages again in the 21st century? So the reasons are varied, personal, but they are general reasons that are the cause is coming from the governance system that we have in Cameroon. And so we are saying that our the politicians and policymakers should craft ways for Cameroonians who are out to make lofty contributions. After all, by the way, in the yesteryears, when it was November, December, January, we had almost half of Cameroonians coming back up to enjoy home, right? Yes. Because home was home. Why has home not become home again? Because before you come, there's a law waiting, there's a court case that is waiting for you that has been crafted by somebody out of anger or out of jealousy or a plot against you simply because, you understand, and the judicial system, the mechanism there operates with a lot of financial, constraint. So it has deterred a lot of not only Anglophones from the northwest and southwest or northern region that are under crisis, but generally Anglo-Cameroonians you realize that where the sardine and the sardina, anti-sardina and sardinas, right? That issue has deterred a lot of Cameroonian youth from coming back home to face during the festive period. And so those are barriers that we need to clear off, to make every Cameroonian who is abroad to be valued, to give them value and reference home, give them relevance home, and they will come and develop this country. Instead of politicians who, like Mr. Mufo was saying, are afraid that they will come and fight power tussle with them because they have the financial prowess to challenge them, either in running as runners up or in business hubs that they will create. And we are talking about the Silicon Mountain. Silicon Mountain. We had a Mountain Race of Hope this year, 31st edition. You got the lapses from the people that ran the race, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that those young guys who make up that hub of Silicon, that makes Silicon Mountain, those guys can develop apps that and that we don't need even people to go and stand in the mountain for us and then leave and drive runners away to turn back. That they don't need those apps. They can develop apps that will make the to control the mountain, and we have little lapses than the gaps that we find disqualification of an athlete, this or that, people who are not doing this, or people who turn in the way and missing their track.
As a discussion point is more of sensitizing people that movement, whether within or without, has come to stay. And now it's also to encourage our various policy makers that we should make this movement beneficial to the national economy. Okay, when you look at, I was just going through some statistics here. Cameroon has one of the most expensive cost of remittance in terms of money transfer. They are paying so much to transfer monies back to the ICD, and it's discouraging that most of the time people use now the illegal way. They carry the money in their luggages and move with the physical currency. Meanwhile, they would have used the normal channel, and the country benefits from taxation and the rest. And then we are also emphasizing that other countries, especially in Africa, their GDP comes a lot from their nationals who are outside there. A country like Nigeria, big country like Nigeria, 6% of its GDP comes from their citizens out of. And we have a country like Cameroon that is having basic health issue, and they tell you that the number of medical doctors just in one town in Germany is more than all the medical doctors in Northwest and Southwest. There is a question mark. So all of what we are saying is that the school system has to be made to motivate people to go to school, and then create something that